Welcome to a marathon part of Apollo Justice, and it's in case
What?
3 and all.
Jerry?
Go, Jerry.
Apollo... Eustace?
No.
Eustace!
Eustace, we have a problem.
That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some.
Wait, what? What the
Accent.
fuck are you talking about?
It's how he pronounces his name. Remember, he's foreign, got a different accent.
No, that
It's
last
the menacing
line.
tone. That line can be so easily taken out of context.
Especially in the UK, where that's exactly what you think it means.
Okay.
Anyway.
At least I know shooting.
Yeah, the Machi doesn't like that sentence either.
Yeah, change
Machi.
the subject, Machi, thank you.
Machi claims Mr. Latus was already down on the ground when he entered the room.
Maybe it's a trap and he walked right into it.
Blah blah blah, it's a trap. Oh, I'm moving on.
A comment on True C's usefulness, bruv. Sick of that.
At least
This
the
case
guard.
is drained.
At least the guard in the background is enjoying it.
Suddenly I hear revolver. Close. Very close.
Are you on about the gun or the movie Revolver?
Is there a movie just called Revolver?
Yeah.
How lazy.
I'm sure there's probably a
Ask
good reason for
Guy
it.
Ritchie and Luc Besson about that.
Then I hear voice.
Really not.
God, he didn't watch The Voice, did he? I feel bad for him already. Yes, as you can tell,
Impeccable.
you heard gunshots. Yeah, Apollo really needed some thinking time before he came out of his next sentence, don't you know?
And he
Whatever.
completely missed the mark.
We've already gone for this. Let's just move on.
Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only the sound.
Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room? And found Mr. Latus already dead, and then you heard shots. So what happened? What happened? Did a car backfire or something?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, somehow someone managed to get a car into the arena. If that's true,
So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots.
no. Again, that's my theory. Machi got lost and ended up in the garage and heard cars backfiring. Oh wait, that theory would only make sense if he was blind, but we know he's not. And you escaped through the air vent.
I know.
You know. It's been
No, it's all so clear.
a bit of an odd reply. Why don't just say yes or?
Huh? What do you know?
That turnabout melody is a much
Trucy,
better
don't say that
episode
aloud
than
in the
this.
room. You know we're not going to hear the response because the bailiff will say, "All right, everyone, come back in. The trial's going to restart." It always happens in these games.
I know if I open vent.
Yes, of course.
You know, there's so many typos in this series. I'm
To be
kind
fair,
of surprised
okay.
this was the.
To be fair, in Machi's case, it's about a broken English, because...
Also,
Yeah,
I
I
just
know.
misread that line anyway, so... I can leave stage and backstage.
So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area.
Sure, why the fuck?
We're operating on Mission Impossible logic where the air vents are just big enough.
Is that what he means? Well, then actually, Tio, if it were Mission Impossible, the air vents would, the place that the air vents lead to would be temperature controlled and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo.
Dressing #2 and dressing #1. Is this a new form of Twitter? I don't know about.
Excuse me, before those were hashtags, they're also known as number signs.
Yeah.
You youngins.
It's kind of like how internet ruined the original definition of memes.
It really says something about how old I feel, and I'm only 23 whenever I have to tell someone that hashtags can also be used as number signs.
That's just the thing, Jova. That's just the thing, Jova. You would think the commentary in MGS2 would be the thing that would age, but no, it was the word meme that aged, not the actual commentary. Like, you guys told me I was crazy. Well, who's the crazy one now, assholes?
Anyway.
Priorities. I hear this from Magician.
I summon Dark Magician in attack mode.
Yeah, that's another thing. We know he's not blind, so why is he still? Is it because it's just to make him look cool?
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at Trucy.
Maybe Mr. Hat did it.
The magician. Yeah, I'm sure Mr. Hat just magically grew legs, got out of Trucy's mechanism and all that, and ran off and did the deed.
You never know.
Well, at least we're clear on one thing.
We are.
None of us should ever. I'm going mentally.
Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche.
Machi didn't shoot the deputy. He didn't shoot the deputy.
But Trucy, you are a genius.
Thank you.
Well, okay. To be fair, Dwibs, she's just recapping for the sake of assurance. Come on, this is common in this.
Especially considering the different whambles that we have had these trials.
Not
so
to mention
far.
the fact that this is, technically a chapter segment start anyway. I mean, normally this is where you come in after you pause the game for a while.
Also,
Or the
at
game
least this
expects
isn't
you
a
to put it down
line
for a
of
while.
dialogue, not a.
Look at this with this. Think of it as this game's equivalent of the story so far that Layton has.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish future Ace Attorney games would do something like that.
What do you mean?
Most people do.
Just like when you start up the game. I mean, what if you start up the game when you're not at this kind of bit? You know what I mean?
My guess is Dwibs prefers an actual out of script recap rather than an incorporated recap where the characters recap stuff. I'm guessing.
That wouldn't really work for Ace Attorney. I mean, maybe at like the start of a chapter or whatnot, but even still, Ace Attorney has always been one that does its best to put you in the shoes of the characters. That includes when the recaps come for it to be as the characters you're playing as. Having an out-of-script recap, I feel, would take away from the magic of that. Maybe in something like Ace Attorney Investigation, since that's a spin-off and the way things work there is quite differently. Or maybe Great Ace Attorney, granted. From what I've seen, Great Ace Attorney is more like the traditional Ace Attorney games anyway, so unless it's something incredibly different, I wouldn't know. Hopefully I'll find out when that fan translation is finished.
Well, from what I've seen, Jova, apparently,
If it isn't abolished again.
From what we've seen, Jova, Greatest Attorney feels a lot like a successor to the crossover anyway. They even bring back the multiple witness system.
Though they have a lot more stuff that's more Ace Attorney-ish, since it doesn't do the puzzle thing, obviously.
Well, obviously we have to fill in since the latent part is not there. Obviously, you have to fill it in with other stuff.
Anyway, back to the story.
What? That cocoon.
We're enemies of Cocoon.
I can't go home. Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, I just thought up a good thing. Okay, how about this? We can have Machi be bipolar. Shiro will be normal Machi. I will be foreign language Machi. Okay. Good.
Can't go home?
That's the Spider-Man sequel. Spider-Man can't go home.
There you go. He's secretly a Nazi. There you go.
What?
Excuse you?
Machi the.
That's random.
Yeah.
Well, might as well at this point.
Yeah, I come
No.
up with
Considering how random this game is.
But he's not guilty.
I come up with random character twists all the time, so I don't mind.
But
Is it?
that one, like...
Whatever.
I turned the nice, humble, caring, smart dick first your
Yeah.
Leighton into the opposite one.
Yeah, you turned him into an actual Londoner.
Don't worry, it's just a joke. I'm sure people on the internet will understand what am I talking about. But anyway, moving.
Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. Machi, tell me what happened.
You just shake
Apollo
him
just starts
violently.
shaking him like. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's
Sorry.
your plan?
I'm gonna shake the little bastard. And...
In fact, Dwibs, in hindsight, here's what you should have done. In every time Machi speaks foreigner, you should have inserted Hitler's sound clips from Downfall.
Downfall.
Yes.
Nah, I'll probably get done for copyright. Constantine, they're all about that.
Well, actually, it would be just the audio. Wouldn't just the audio be fine?
Don't underestimate YouTube, Pedro.
Yeah.
Someone else?
I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there.
Great.
Well, nice to see someone's chipper. Right?
I
We
don't
didn't
know.
get
There's,
Bailiff to tell us to go in the courtroom.
I don't know. There's so many Downfall parodies on YouTube. Does Constantine really mind the?
They're random. Sometimes they mind, sometimes they...
So they're like Nintendo.
Anyway,
Court is now back in session.
Yay.
Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendants?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
We think so.
Oh boy. Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. You don't say it that way, Apollo. Who knows how the judge will interpret? When you say that, it comes off as like how a gangster would say.
remember Dwibs, the judge is the one who said in Trials and Tribulation that, well, at least it was Mia that accused him to be in a child at some point.
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
That was just an unfortunate typo.
Or was it?
Oh god.
Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around.
Well, guys, that's the end of this case.
All right, can we move on to the final one? Well, the final one is crap too. Damn it.
Actually, it is.
Can we move on to the next
Is that
game?
Apollo
I
agreeing
am
with
back
you, or-
now.
The defense would like to
We
approach
restarted the
this
trial,
case
so-
from a different
I understand.
angle, Your Honor.
What else did I miss?
Machi saying, no, I'm not testifying, and
You missed me turning Machi into a Nazi.
Jeez.
basically, Jova, if I applied my Dick Clayton-ish character twisting to Apollo, I'd have Apollo just shake Machi and say, tell me what you know!
Basically, Jova, I'm gonna take a cue from you and be optimistic that the internet will understand that it's just a joke and just take it in stride.
I
But
know.
I'm going-
I know.
And I know I'm setting myself for disappointment,
Oh.
but whatever.
Oh,
Hold on.
I'm while speaking again.
Huh.
Objection! What are you up to now?
You'll see soon
Oh,
enough,
Oh, I
Dante.
didn't write this crap!
Who wrote it then?
Blame Shu. I hate even numbers Takumi.
Your Honor, the prosecution calls Shutakumi to the stand.
You know, he kind of has a point.
There's nothing we can't.
Lamiroir was taken to the hospital yesterday. Injuries. Well, why else would she go to the hospital?
I guess to
She
visit
went-
someone?
She went to the hospital because she was having an itch.
What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Assaulted?
Yeah,
Someone wanted Lamiroir dead.
I wonder why.
I mean, they stuffed her into a guitar case and everything.
No, she
Yeah,
hit
you
me.
throw a shelf in.
Crawled into
Aren't witnesses supposed to be in witness protection programs?
Yes, they are, but this is Ace Attorney.
Oh yeah,
Witness
I
protection
forgot.
don't exist.
To
I
be,
forgot.
Okay. To be fair, witness protection is normally only for when a witness is knowingly in danger, or when it's, with a defendant
I've
who could
heard
very well
no
have them
such
killed.
before.
Well, I'd say they are in danger since, they haven't really arrested any major suspects.
Sure,
Hold on.
as far as the
Would
court
you-
is concerned,
Don't you-
Machi is
don't
the
you-
bad guy.
Would you
Don't
say
you-
that Apollo updated the report?
Oh, yeah, but I was about to make that
Update-
joke myself.
Update that motherfucker.
Okay. Now, these parts of the trial where Apollo's actually the one calling the shots, I like these. Finally, Apollo's actually... Oh my god, yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
third case.
yeah, Job. I can't wait to see more of that in the next case.
Moving on, we'll get to it.
Again,
Think of how she's known in our country.
I know it's a paradox, but surprisingly, despite the first half being god-awful, the second half is where Apollo gets to shine better as a character. Shame it had to be Tournament Serenade of all cases.
Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut.
Remember, Jova, a dragon never wields.
Who could
You
that
mean
have
yields.
Wields, sorry. It's just confusing because there's a W in there, so it's a bit weird.
Wait, W? There's a Y.
Is it? Or am I thinking of a different word?
You're
Never
thinking
mind.
of a different word.
Okay, then.
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latu.
Whatever.
That's
The point is,
quite a harsh accusation, Apollo.
whatever. The point is, Apollo will not yield.
The killer
Also,
was
it's the only
afraid
one
of
that
her,
makes sense.
afraid of what she might say.
Or maybe it's just someone who was a disgruntled fan of hers.
The
Yeah.
defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony.
Then again, to be fair, considering the turn of actions, this can make sense.
Something that the killer doesn't want getting out.
So, what better way to prove it than with testimony?
What are we going to say? A musical number.
So, am I to understand that this is what you're saying?
Were you listening?
I'm free. Wow, I'm 3 cases in. No one's noticed my inner earpiece.
Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lamiroir's testimony.
That's my headcanon. Phoenix is just feeding stuff to Apollo.
Although I understand why Clavia is being a bit smug since,
A
you know,
nugget,
Lamiroir
yeah.
lied out of her ass the last time.
True.
A nugget we have yet to uncover.
True.
It's going to be hard to prove that anything she ever said was true.
Exactly.
Of course he'd be one to talk, considering as how he's the one who hid the fact that she was blind.
If Lamiroir was attacked, this has serious implications.
That it does.
Nah,
Very
she just
well.
bumped into something. She's mistaken.
There were some vague points in her
Just
in her
roll.
testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire it as deeply as we might have into some more. Well, didn't we scrap that? Judge, didn't you stop the cross-examination so we could drag Emma back in?
He's just speaking fancy terms.
The court will hear Lamiroir's testimony. Yeah, poor Emma. Emma kind of got the short end of the stick too. She's made to look like a fool, and she gets treated like we just pressed the pause button on a testimony in a video game or something.
Oh yeah, like I said, even Emma herself pretty much brings that up and lampshades it.
I must apologize. I must ask you to stand again and speak. So
You
speak,
need
goddammit.
not apologize.
And can you wake up, please?
I know Machi is innocent.
Which one? His dark side or his good side?
And I will do all that I can until the court realizes this.
You probably don't want to express it like that. You make it sound like you're going to intentionally lie in the translation.
Yeah, or with help.
Let's review your testimony from yesterday before you put yourself even more at risk of being accused of perjury.
Well, there won't be any translation this time, Pedro, because Machi can kind of speak English.
You told us
know.
you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescend, yes?
Yes.
That is correct.
That is correct.
It is
Do I
most
win?
correct.
At which point I proved she could not be correct.
No one asked you.
Hey, I'm the prosecutor. I want to contribute.
You're a crap prosecutor, though.
She couldn't have heard any of those things.
Can it, Blondie?
So you're
But I'm a rock star.
yeah, and I'm the princess of Morocco. What's your point?
The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof.
It's a shame this courtroom isn't soundproof.
Not that would do much for us, Roy. We're in the courtroom.
True.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice?
Apparently not.
I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there.
That's it, Apollo.
That finger point.
There is, it seems, much you do not know, and I'm going to keep it secret for the lols.
Actually, to be fair...
I thought he said earlier that they're meant to get to the truth.
To be fair,
Can we hold him
Clavier is
in
in this
contempt
just
of
as
court?
much the dark as we are here.
So apparently, according to Clavier, they only work together for the truth when it's not the most inconvenient to him.
Okay, again, like I said, this actually does show something interesting. Clavier is obviously fighting against us more because it's his friend's life on the line here. Again, remember that.
Well, if that's the case, he shouldn't be the prosecutor.
Well, to be fair, his friend didn't really become a suspect until now, to be fair, but
To be
anyway.
unfair, his friend's there, so he's going to be most compromised. So switch prosecutor.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, Java, isn't the procedure in this case actually to replace in this case the prosecutor?
I guess, granted, I don't know how Japanese law
Which
works.
reminds me, what the fuck is Edward doing right
Well,
now?
granted, granted, the police here are so incompetent. They allowed a suspect to just walk around freely and not arrest him for suspicion.
I know I should have asked this already at the beginning of the game, because I anything, but where the hell is Edgeworth?
Okay, probably time I bring up another issue I have with this game. See, okay, it's clearly obvious they wanted to have this be a game that, didn't really have Phoenix in it. And as by extension, that meant that pretty much most of the original cast from the trilogy will not be showing up for this game.
At least as a throwaway line.
I know, for all I know, they're all on a paid vacation. Why?
This, again, is part of the problem I have with this, but you know what? I'm gonna save my bigger issue with the whole original trilogy thing for the final case, because it's a lot more fitting there.
I don't know, Joe. It's not necessarily it by itself. It's not necessarily a problem. I mean, Little Mr. Johnny also very rarely does have a cameo from a character from the previous games, like it has done Dalmona. And
Oh, exactly. That's why I said that I'm saving it. I'm saving it for the case 4, where it does kind of become a bit of an issue, but you know why.
True, but as far as so far at least, as far as the others know, because we know, but the rest of the crew don't.
I will say this though, I guess I agree with Paige though. It's like, well, it's not the biggest deal. I mean, hey, we've had a mention of Maya anyway from Phoenix anyway. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, honestly. And honestly,
the big problem is that the big problem is that the new cast of characters that they've made so far to replace the old cast is nowhere near as good, and as a result we miss them all the more. If the writers did their job and made these characters likable in their own way, then we wouldn't miss them so much.
Again, it's like I said, it feels like this case is definitely trying to compensate, standing up to the original trilogy, ignoring the fact that it has characters from the original trilogy, which just remind us of how much more fun that was.
What? Trucy? Yeah. Oh, well, Trucy's staring at us.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
But remember, Phoenix was made to be included in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apollo, for a moment there.
Yes?
Yes, Trucy?
Yeah?
I lost it. You were pretty cool.
That
But
pretty
only
much...
for a moment. But only for a moment, though.
Okay, this pretty much
Thanks.
sums up the second
Yes.
half of this case, because for the second half of this case, Apollo actually does seem like he can be a pretty cool lawyer here. Ironic.
Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead.
Hey,
Just don't
it's
think
kind of
about
like
it.
with bluffing. That is admittedly one thing that is separated from Apollo from Phoenix. Apollo doesn't really do the bluffing game like Phoenix does.
Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness.
Keep your pants on, Judge.
So what, we're going to throw her in the fridge?
What I heard, I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot, and that's when I heard them. Mr.
Sorry,
Ratisi and the
Lamiroir,
detective.
I've got my magic skip button. Hold it! Darian Crescend? Sorry about using my remote control on you, but I had to fast forward.
I suppose it's understandable. I did not know his name at the time. But yes, It was him. The one who took the stand yesterday.
The one with the stupid hair, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah, right.
No. Clavier's the prosecution, remember?
How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible?
Clavier's hair isn't that stupid.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that weird ice cream cone look on the right side.
You know,
There's no
Dwibs,
way
I
you could
know.
have heard him.
Okay.
Javier, I was principal.
You know, Dwibs, I know you say that you dislike Godo even more, but I don't know. You've had way more to complain about Clavier than Godo.
Well, that's because we're on the subject of it. Godo was the previous game.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, well, comparing how much you complained about Godo in the previous game, you didn't have nearly as much to complain about with him during that commentary.
Well, we'll be thankful when we're doing that much.
Of course. You see, Job, it's kind of like...
Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere.
You see, Job, the big reason why I miss Roll so much in Mega Man Fully Charged is because the character they got to replace her with is, well, a bad self-insert character that's getting really annoying at this point.
Let me put it like this. Clavier is fine when they're having him be the simple guy, as his character even showed. Hey, when he's simple, he works well. It's when they try to make him more complex that it gets annoying, because then it kind of spits into the face of him being a simple, easygoing guy who's fair and fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I think I'd drop the fun ball when I find out my best friend could be a murderer.
That's exactly my point, Shuri. For now, they're actually running with it well enough.
That's the big problem.
Okay.
Said, it's inconsistent.
Okay. To its credit, with how they're doing it right now, it's fine enough. It's just for what comes later, but I'm not going to foreshadow on that.
That comes later.
I only heard one phrase clearly.
Fuck you. A whole phrase?
No, Dwibs, it has to be done David Cage style. Go fuck yourself.
Alright.
Yes.
No. Go fuck yourself. That should be.
You remember something that was sad? See, even Claudia is getting tired of this.
Now he's sweating, jeez.
Okay, hey, it's actually nice to see Clavier actually flinch more.
That's not something... Was
but
that
this is like
sprite
his
always
only-
like that?
This is like
Yeah.
one of his 2 flinching animations.
Well, he doesn't
I
always
haven't
sweat.
noticed that since I'm using a different thing,
Seriously,
so... Yeah.
all his other animations, apart from like 2, have him with that stupid smug look on his face.
Yeah, that's another reason
I
why.
He's a
actually
musician.
I kind of like the manga. I don't know. There's just something.
Yeah.
But there's times where you're supposed to be. I think Edgeworth had like at least 3 or 4.
I can understand if it gets to the nerves of someone.
I think I get what Dwibs means. It's like, well, with every other prosecutor, while they definitely were smug until we finally struck a blow against them, with Clavier, it feels like the only time we're actually striking blows against him are in this case.
Also, Joe, it's more of a case of a pretty boy Magi instead of someone properly eating green one.
Yeah.
Remember,
what
he's
did
the
he say?
douchebag with the guitar.
Oh, what did he say?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche.
The shooter then. Darien Crescend.
I'll put it like this.
No, there were 2 shooters.
When it comes to Clavier, it depends on if he's really your kind of steam or whatnot. Again, the previous 3 prosecutors had a similar enough theme. It's over. Press the switch. Now!
Settle.
oh,
Smash!
Switch.
So are they hilarious.
Yeah.
And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latou.
Mr. Latou?
Latouche.
I don't know.
I
I'm
found
just
it quite strange myself. Afterward.
sometimes the S and the E are silent in some words. I don't know.
Well, it's French, so I can tell you that it's, well, actually, probably not because it's Portuguese. It's Latouche, like, as if it's French.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly be? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, of course. Why do I always have to shed justice on any light on anything?
Well, it was his idea in the first place to
I
cross-examine.
mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's very, very vile. Maybe we could add that to the testimony.
Yes.
Might as well.
Yes, bluff, Apollo. Bluff like you've never had before.
Maybe, Apollo?
Trucy, keep it on the down low. I got Mr. Right in my ear, remember?
Yeah.
From the small window, I heard a voice say, "Press the switch, now!"
Let's see. What have I got that can counter that? That switch, you mean? Objection! Press the switch.
Yes.
There's only one key that can unlock the mystery's words.
Wait, you mean you got the download keys for Smash Bros. Ultimate ahead of time?
You wish.
Ma'am, that game came out 8 years ago.
Oh, it did.
Yep. It did.
9
Forgive me,
years.
my amnesia.
Sure. True, there wasn't a switch at the seam.
What a shame.
Oh.
But it just so happens
Oh?
I have a switch right here.
Oh, cool! Can we play Super Smash Bros. 6 on it?
Seriously.
No, enough with the switch jokes, goddammit! That certainly looks like a switch, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
And the Apollo just explodes and...
Maybe the actual switch is the bites the dust trigger.
I wonder.
This was found... My judge voice for a second there. This was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
Here, press this, Clavier.
Wait, where's the igniter? Did we leave it in Emma's coat pocket?
There's no igniter, Siri. You can set Emma on fire, and that's why she's not in.
That's for a very unfortunate person to know.
Where's the counter with help? Yeah, in fact, that's why she's not in Ace Attorney 5. Someone accidentally and then set her on fire. Yeah, in Ace
Well,
Attorney 6,
considering
someone
how the first case of Ace Attorney 5 goes, yeah.
On the stage.
But hey, in Ace Attorney 6, if that were the case, the reconstructors must have done an amazing job.
Yeah.
Are you claiming that the voice Lamiroir heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch?
It was Reggie and Miyamoto.
It's a possibility. Who's making these damn Nintendo jokes?
Not just.
Apollo feels bad every time he hears the word Switch.
Objection.
couldn't
Oh,
afford
head
one.
for head. I'd call that an impossibility.
You've been saying impossible since day one of this case.
Has he?
Also,
I don't know.
Dwibs, that's pretty much everyone since the Switch
That's
came
the
out.
only words you know.
Sorry, head for head, but I do not believe in house principle. It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert floor.
I'll buy you a thesaurus for Christmas.
And hit you with it.
The stage is quite far from Lamiroir's dressing room, as dictated by the flashing red lights. Look,
Yeah, that's a, yeah. Why does the text keep doing that?
not to mention that the Governors were in the middle of a concert on said stage.
You don't need us to show you the video recording again, do you?
No, no,
Knife
thank
and
you.
scissors and cut that stupid
We
ice
also-
cream cone off your head.
We also are known for being a quiet band.
Are you? Are you really?
Really.
You could shout all you wanted and not be heard.
Hey, Paige, you're doing a very good job making him even more.
The
Prick.
detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout.
I'm taking a cue from your. I'm taking a cue from your Dick Clayton performance. So to have air for heads cries a possibility, fallen far short of being heard. How much more can I milk this?
Sorry, but he
Uh-oh.
wouldn't have
For a
needed
little
a
longer.
shout.
Oh, what's this? Apollo just follows up with another smirk to match!
Excuse me?
Yeah. See, he's been retorted, and yet he's still got that smug smile. You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for?
Ooh, that's
Like
gonna be a burn!
Ladies, take it outside.
Yes, you're both
It's quite
beautiful.
simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Or did that ice cream cone get in your ear? Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this?
Wow,
Gotcha.
the
Gotcha.
absolute sass.
Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on the stage.
The badge.
Well, it looks like he's got some evidence to
he pressed
back
the
it
badge
up.
as a secret communicator. Take that! Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this?
Why, that's...
Is this one of those bananas you told me about, Apollo? What is it?
That's a weird looking banana.
Is that some kind of newfangled food they invented while I wasn't looking?
Close.
Oh,
You're
if
very
only
close.
Oh, considering how many new phones seem to be coming out.
Yeah,
Not,
even a
that's actually pretty
foldable one from
accurate comment.
Samsung that cost over $1,000.
This is the type
I
of
thought that was still in production. I didn't realize that that's actually a thing now.
communications device.
What is these things you youngsters do?
Yeah, sometimes the text just skips randomly. I didn't press anything then.
Good.
Everyone on stage was wearing one of these, wasn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin?
Ah, yes. Actually, they're for talking between band members.
Ooh, gotcha.
Did you seriously forget about that? All your planning, and you forgot about the earpieces.
We all had one.
Well, to be fair, he wasn't expecting this now, was he?
Yeah, but if it was about communication, though, to his mind. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
And we did find one right outside the door.
Objection.
I couldn't press earlier for some reason.
True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal.
And then, means in this case,
It's actually a transistor. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited.
Makes sense.
not sure.
He's
But
got
we
a...
already knew that, didn't we? Lamo said it was about 30 feet, right?
In actual measurements of what it is.
30 feet.
They even showed on the map before, too,
Yeah.
how far back it would actually go.
Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, open your mouth wide and say, ah. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far. But the direct distance is less than 30 feet.
Oh.
Well, I'll be darned. This lawyer boy may actually have something going.
That can't be.
Jeez.
Guys, he has another I'm not smoke face.
Yep.
So when Lamiroir heard the shooter's voice,
We actually did see that at the end of the first half of this case, but yeah.
he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Now this feels like an actual Ace Attorney duel here.
Objection. You're claiming this is the switch in question? You don't even have Mario Odyssey on it. Why did it have to be on the stage at the time?
Jeez, Clavier, you're wildly out of breath there.
You really wanted to play Odyssey?
Or Breath of the Wild.
It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere.
Or
Yeah,
or
exactly. That's the point.
Crash Bandicoot.
It should be in a museum.
Someone could have hit it on the stage after the fact.
And do you have any proof of that? Oh wait, I'm supposed to be the one giving the evidence.
No,
Your band members
because
should not be playing video games during concerts. Hey, he's got a point.
Unless
Not
it's
just-
Just Dance 2019. That goes well,
remember-
actually, with it.
remember this is this attorney. You're guilty till proven innocent.
How do we know where it was when she heard the voice?
Come on, Apollo, you're on a roll right now. Don't lose steam here.
When the shooter said, press the switch,
Okay, you know what? I'm taking this earpiece out. It's getting annoying. Well, I guess we don't.
Oh, you didn't think that was the only earpiece I left with you now, did you?
Phoenix, are you God?
Well, I am called
Unfortunate
Phoenix, after
situation.
all.
I'm afraid that's until we know where this point of debating is.
Boog.
Although,
I was sure this was the way to go with this.
Oh well. What is this switch anyway?
God, if this game had been released in 2017.
We don't even know that basic fact.
Well, this trilogy, well, the original trilogy will come quite familiar with the Switch.
Oh yes, it will.
Soon enough.
Wait a second.
Well,
Oh?
So they continue my Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music gag. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion...
Yes?
That sounds like something from a 90s anime. It ends up in proof that completely changes this case.
Yes!
Jovi, didn't you say the localization first game was on this one?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
up, Apollo?
I came back for this one.
Apollo?
dun, 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 dun,
It
dun.
does kind of feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Guess it makes sense since this was also supposed to be the start of its own trilogy.
We know about this switch, right? We know what it is.
Yeah. We've already established that.
Yeah.
To think it's been out for nearly 8 years now, and only now have we recently got 2 NES games.
And still no servers for Splatoon.
But at least the ones for Smash Ultimate are holding up fine, and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 3 is looking
But
pretty
it means you
sweet.
can't actually play the game outside the house.
Think of what happened.
Unless you get 4G in a router.
Well, Mr.
Nah, not
Justice,
strong enough, unfortunately.
Oh, then just use your phone as a router.
Already
the Crash,
tried.
The Crash Bandicoot Racing trilogy was on the Switch.
Nintendo's a dick.
If you have no further information to share concerning the Switch, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Justice?
Turns out, in this latest update, you can use your phone as a mobile router for the Switch.
That's very
I've been
nice,
remi-
Apollo.
In not telling the court this before. Excuse me. I know what this Switch is.
It's in reality Project NX.
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the name of the new Xbox.
Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the Switch to the case.
Well,
Don't you
they've
mean
got
don't you mean linking the Switch to the account, Your Honor?
Of course there's a link on the Switch. That's what Hyrule Warriors the Definitive Edition is for.
Let's see your evidence of the link. No, sorry, Jeff. We have to wait till Four Swords Adventures Switch comes out before that.
Yeah, I'm sure that the virtual GameCube will handle things just fine.
Joe, but they can barely get the virtual N64 work on it. What hope will the GameCube have?
Hey, who knows? It's upgrading every now and then.
Take that! Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? As my music plays in the background.
Which means you're triumphant.
Mm-hmm.
That's that.
See what I mean if I like this part of the case better? I mean, it actually feels like the Ace Attorney battles that we're more familiar with. Like the two sides exchanging blows every now and then. Not just one side getting to act smug for 99% of it.
Is it another one of those newfangled phones?
Well, there is an update
Oh,
where you
gee.
can actually use the Switch for communications.
This is an igniter. What phone looks like this?
Can we give the judge a Twitter account?
Well-
What about the Raspberry? Well, there's a Raspberry Pi.
I mean, to be fair, Paul, the Samsung Galaxy S9 is infamous for lighting things on fire when it overheats.
Yes, actually.
You aren't saying the Switch is a remote?
Yes, in fact, you actually can use the Switch to play remotely.
I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter.
What?
That's right, folks. Trigger Happy Havoc Danganronpa is coming to the Switch.
Look, I'll show you. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist down the...
Honestly, Judge, that's the least of your worries.
Jeez, Apollo. I know that you're named after the sun god, but... D.
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected.
What did you
If you do
expect
that one
at
more
all?
time, Apollo, I swear you will be the one on fire. If my whiskers had caught on fire...
Whiskers.
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself, and he presses a button again.
Imagine if it burned off the judge's entire beard.
So to look weird about that. This switch is a remote igniter trick. Doesn't that suggest something to you?
There's actually an edit that shows the judge without his beard looking like Thanos.
Of course there is.
You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you?
I know.
That's right, Clavier. I'm going to introduce you to a friend of mine, Character Development, who unfortunately is a bit ill today.
Actually, no. For once, he's not ill. You're actually developing. Keep
For
it going.
me, I meant. For me.
Oh my god.
Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. What did Blondie come on stage? No, that's Eternal Flame. Sorry. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of.
Even Ozzy Osbourne would find that a bit weird.
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of the stage show, though?
About that, Judge.
Tell that to Clavier's guitar.
Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned.
We know that because of how he's been acting whenever it's been brought up.
And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake.
Yeah, there's extreme stunts and then there's that.
Yeah.
That's right. He got it in Virginia from Lamiroir.
Wait, you mean the guitar I gave to him is the one that burned?
Yeah, sorry, Lamiroir.
Well, isn't that just dandy?
He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes.
Clavier is rich, he can buy another.
But Lamiroir gave it to him as a keepsake. It means
It
sentimental
has
stuff.
sentimental value.
The better the guitar, the brighter it burns.
Trying to look on the bright side, huh?
Hair forehead.
What?
I'm thinking.
Yes.
Impeccable.
Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together.
Well, who do you think mentored him?
Those being the shooter's voice, heard by Lamiroir.
There's no point though, we haven't heard much of Phoenix mentoring Apollo in any way.
Good.
And the guitar suddenly catching on fire.
Well, we just proved how that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, Shiroi, when it comes to Phoenix mentoring, Eternity 5 is much better in that regard.
I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene.
Clavier threw a hissy fit.
No, I was just getting a tissue. The shooter was wearing a headset. Yeah, I'm so awesome. I can do it cold. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. I bet Phoenix Wright couldn't do that.
Apollo, my trilogy's coming to the Switch.
I meant take the stand. I meant defend with a cold. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire.
Well, he was a witness with a cold, actually.
And I actually did have a cold during one of my most epic trials. We call it a bridge to turnabout, nicknamed-wise.
And what happened 3 months after that?
I don't know. Maybe I'll take up an entire case to tell you about that.
There was something about this bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? Seems pretty simple to me.
Oh, the judge actually has thoughts on this.
Well,
Objection! Herr Forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you.
That's
You
just
do.
tsundere talk.
you had respect in the first place.
I was expecting something a little more sensible. This is attorney Clavier. I think you got some things.
You're in the
changed.
You're in the wrong series.
I guess I was wrong.
Resident Evil is in the studio next door.
Speaking of Resident Evil, they're bringing back Mila Jovovich for the Monster Hunter movies because everyone loved her.
Totally.
What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin?
His simple story simply makes no sense.
That's rich coming from the guy who hid things from the court.
Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this. Indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set.
Oh. Oh,
True.
snap.
He's right. Of course.
Oh my god! A point that makes sense and actually catches us off by surprise? It's like we're playing the original trilogy!
Most of it.
Again, how weird is it that in what's arguably the worst first half of any case, the second half is actually quite possibly some of the best of this game. It's weird.
Yet the shooting happened during the first. The two are utterly unrelated.
And that is why I can say without any bout of embarrassment that this is actually a case I like. Strictly for the second half, though. The first half can go down in the trash fire.
It's kind of the problem, Jover. If only half is good, then it's not that good.
Oh,
I'm
not saying the case is good. I'm just saying this is one of the cases I actually like better, if only because it's where Paul finally starts to get shining as a lawyer. I'm not saying that makes the case good, but it's one of the cases I actually like more than others because there's more fun in it.
Honestly,
Are you sure about that?
Honestly, I don't find the second half even all that good to begin with.
I actually do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, more interesting case here, more interesting stakes, and like I said, Apollo actually now feels more fun to play as.
What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise of my explanation.
And he's actually finally being witty. Granted, I guess to be fair, Phoenix took a while to be witty.
So far. What premise is this specifically?
Sorry if you could hear a bike in the background.
Nah, sorry. We can be able to hear a bike.
Oh snap!
I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the act.
The third act. Objection! What's this?
The cornered fame is playing! You know what that means, folks!
But Detective Emma Sky heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act.
Or did it?
Maybe the killer made a robot and shot him. Objection! Gunshots rang out. And according to her testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the...
Oh yeah.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice?
I could just imagine the entire courtroom dancing out to this theme.
Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. Plot twist, it was a suicide or something. Not in the head, though. That'd be odd.
This is insane!
Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset.
What, were they playing a game of Splatoon 2?
Silly joke, but that would require actually being connected to their phones. Telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. He deserved it, the snob.
Maybe might want to leave that one out.
We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar.
It does sound like a good plan to try and kill Clavier.
From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. Someone must have really hated the Gavin.
Or someone just didn't like his guitar.
The crime did not take place during the third act.
Yeah, I was suspecting actually something like that.
But during the ballad performance, the second act.
Ooh.
Ah, почему?
Order! 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 but that goes against the evidence! Your Honor, when doesn't something go against the evidence?
Yeah.
It's kind of the point of a contradiction.
Yeah. What does, Your Honor?
Well, touche.
This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? No, he meant to do it to a different... But they switched out the songs and the content according to the thing.
Hey, he's right. Look.
It's all part of his new ballad, Fuck the Defense.
Oh.
Sure.
The bullet is supposed to come after the fire.
You're thinking about it the wrong way.
You gotta turn it upside its head, flip things upside down, and pull out the turnabouts.
Huh?
Think outside the
That was
box.
the inspiration for that was no big over. That line just there was the Gaviner's new song, Not Always Right. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to
You know, when
Who
you
would
put it
want
like...
to? It's a shitty song. Go on, Joe.
He's got a point. I mean, when you think about it, doing exactly what the song says would make someone associated with it seem like the actual criminal.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason.
Do you have an idea, Judge?
Yes, they did.
And not
You
the
know, if
reason
Clavier's
to-
best friend is found to be guilty of anything, he probably will release a song called Fuck the Defense.
A reason that made it advantageous.
You're saying the order was reversed on purpose?
I mean, you know...
Hey, Clavier, you know my new song? Gavin up being a prosecutor. Zing!
My god, the defense is actually on fire with this one!
If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes.
See,
have
I
no
actually
idea
have an
why
easier
would
time
someone follow those shitty lyrics, but yeah. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame.
See, I actually have an easier time liking Clavier
Laughing.
when he himself also can, you know, find himself in dire straits. I don't know, helps make him more relatable.
Dire straight.
Yeah,
Aha.
The forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire.
I don't need you to interpret what I literally just said, Mr. Ice Cream Cone Head.
Protocol.
Couldn't have put it better together myself. Right, you had a guy call you trite throughout our trials. Put him on protocol.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you for all this interference, Apollo.
Sure. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after you,
Phoenix
That was the
spikes are
criminal's
causing
objective.
interference.
That's right.
but he's wearing a beanie hat, Shiori.
Anyway.
How do you know he's not in the room?
He is, he's right. He's right. Get it? Right. He's right there.
How
Yes, we get it,
original.
Apollo. No one's laughing.
Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body?
Yeah, especially considering how heavy that must have been.
This was the final touch to make us think he followed the lyrics the way.
Are you sure about this?
Well, when you follow common sense, for once, it actually
Lami-
does
Lamiroir
prove a
is-
Oh
point.
yeah, I
Still
forgot.
been a long
Forgot
time.
that while it's still there.
Yeah, I was mentioning that.
That would explain this most unusual situation.
If you say so, Your Honor.
It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words,
Please be true.
the killer was someone who had an alibi for the first act, but not the second.
Well, dang. Stop the music!
I was hoping it wouldn't have come to this, but sadly, it has.
You forced me to do my job even harder.
Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Well, it's a fairy tale, Clive. They rarely make sense.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, it sounds good. I'll give you that.
6.5 out of 10.
But Senpai could do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic.
But you just said it was good. He's in the denial phase.
Yep.
For it's flawed from the very beginning.
But you just said it was good.
I am
Flawed?
bipolar. Yes, a contradiction, Herr Forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less.
It's impossible. Well, that.
At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed.
Mm-hmm.
How could Clemure have heard our voice through it?
It's Lamiroir, actually.
Whatever.
Shut up, Mokba.
You got a new name now. Oh. That's something I never got. Have they established that window was soundproof or something? Or...
Yeah, they did. Remember,
They did towards the beginning of the case.
Mm-hmm. How the room itself is soundproofed.
But you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise.
I hate you.
Well, he's got as much a stake in this as we do, so...
And he actually made a fairly decent point.
Mm-hmm.
Lamiroir's testimony is my entire case.
If this second half of the case were just this would have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't, so...
Yeah.
What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo?
Wow, Trucy, you aged 10 years in seconds. Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch.
Yeah.
So what? you
Lamiroir
wanna-
would have also been wearing an earpiece.
Which acts as a remote trigger for an ignite. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. I had to censor out that bit. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work?
Maybe it was just a really bad Monday.
I see a more direct line of questioning is required.
Or on song puns, maybe it was a manic Monday or something.
Speaking of song puns, for those who haven't yet, check out Turnabout Melody in Season 2 of Ace Attorney. It's another original content episode, and it's great.
When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after, that window was closed.
Literally and figuratively.
Care to tell us how Lamiroir heard the voice?
I have
What
super
about those
hearing.
earpieces?
That's what I said.
A key point to be sure. Have we forgotten the earpieces?
I mean, Lamiroir would have been close enough for them to pick up the voices.
Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court?
That said, though, we do have to prove that
the
she
legend
would have
of
been
the game.
wearing one.
Okay, Justice.
But she's a singer, she would have been wearing one.
You've got one thing to prove, and one thing only, because this court apparently now just lost its mind
Everyone
collectively.
directly involved in the gig would have been wearing one, staff included.
Lamiroir heard a voice, and she heard it during the second set.
Admittedly... Oh yeah, that is a good point. However,
Think.
one thing we... Alright. One thing we
How
do have
was
to
Lamiroir
remember...
able to hear?
One thing we do have to remember, though,
Just
regarding
divine
the earpiece is that, well, again, Lamiroir was out during the second set, so...
When we investigated the scene, the window was closed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The shooter had no reason to close it.
Right.
Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window.
Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again.
Rich.
Don't worry, Paul. You'll get him soon enough.
For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too.
That's
That
right.
doesn't even make any sense.
Apologies to Borginians
It also doesn't make it
anywhere.
different.
As I was saying, you bloody racist, Lamiroir could not hear the voice through that window.
And another thing that I don't like about him, he's racist. There you go.
So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely.
Well, didn't he say those Bojinians over the phone earlier?
I think
Those,
so.
those
fucking
damn
Borginians.
Borginians.
What's this? I got a racist in my cult?
You do amuse me so.
Oh my
I thought you were
God.
gonna say you do have a racist in your corner.
And here I thought you and good sense were back on speaking terms.
Good sense
Your
is
Honor.
about to smack you upside the head, boy.
Your Honor, can we have Winston Payne back?
Now I'm afraid you and good sense speak two entirely different languages.
Mr. Justice, bad news. Mr. Payne is considering retiring after your last defeat of him kind of drove him up the wall.
Shall I
Really?
interpret for you, Airforehead?
Really? He didn't retire years ago?
He was really
Lamiroir.
insistent on trying to get Mr. Wright found guilty.
Lamiroir clearly stated she heard a voice through that small window. And there is only one small window at the scene. All these emphases are starting to remind me
What
of
about the air vent?
Frank Miller comic.
Are you sure? Yeah, Frank
Air vents
Miller
go
wrote
out all
this
over the
case.
place.
I have a
You
date
hear
with
something
Phoenix
that
Wright.
loud through an air vent.
Indeed.
How cool is that?
Think about it. Isn't there another small window at this? What if there was actually a song called Small Window or something?
There probably is.
I'll check.
There is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
chat right now. Don't worry, I got my phone so I can still read the dialogue.
Mhm.
Oh, I know that look. He wants us to ask him.
Even the judge is catching on to how this goes.
I've been doing this for 50 years.
Maybe
Very well.
longer.
You claim Lamiroir heard the voice from another location. Yeah, it is a song actually. It's an obscure one
Oh.
from some group called Luluk. Mr. Justice, do that. Lamiroir heard the voice from here, and there's a flowers in the window.
Yes.
And
Take that!
There we go.
This is where Lamiroir heard that voice from.
very good, Shiroi.
But that's no small window.
Literally speaking, but figuratively speaking.
It's a grate.
That's the air vent.
What a great. I was
What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian. I'm familiar with her language.
Oh!
You mean our language?
so.
It's not a
she's-
strength to imagine she called this air vent a small window.
That's a good point. It's like when Pedro didn't know what a sundial was called because Portugal doesn't have a term for that, right?
For what, Joel?
Sundial. You told me that Portuguese does not have a term for that.
I don't even know what that is, so I'm guessing yes.
Oh, there you go.
That's probably a yes then.
Exactly. Pedro?
Son? Oh, sorry. So Lamiroir was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice?
That's the only logical explanation, yes.
Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, therefore.
Okay, that was funny.
Oh, I like that.
Again! This actually feels like Ace Attorney. Why can't we have more of this stuff going on?
Okay, what about it isn't logical?
Ha! It hardly merits saying.
All of a sudden, Clavier's a lot more funny when he's angry.
Why would Lamiroir be in the ventilation system?
She hides
I think-
sweets up there.
Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her.
Oh, shut up, Clavier. We know you're racist. You
Yeah,
meant
yeah.
intent.
Yeah, sorry, Clavia, but let your racism peek in later. So at this
We
point,
know
there's
the
nothing
truth
but-
now, Clavier.
And like with plenty of
Yeah.
YouTubers, it's gonna be your downfall.
Isn't it, Lamoir? Oh yeah, hi, Lamoir.
I'm still in this game.
You've been listening to our discussion here, yes?
I've had nothing else to do. Yes.
Can you just twiddle your thumbs or something?
I admit, it's had me quite confused since yesterday.
It sure feels like I've been standing here since.
Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? She didn't know. I feared our prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Burn! Oh! Oh!
Take that, you racist shit.
Yes.
The problem here is words.
Okay.
Fucking.
This almost
Fucking
makes
word.
up for the first half of this case with this becoming a roast session for Clavier.
That's the title of this video. Clavier is a racist.
A
Was
roasted
it up high
racist.
on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall?
Yes, it was up on the ceiling. I'm afraid I'm about to make the prosecution look even more like an ass.
You do that.
Yeah, whenever he's angry, I could.
Hey, he has more character when he's angry.
Order! Order! I will have order! Witness! You will clarify this statement to the court.
May I?
Are you in fact saying that you are above the ceiling of the room?
Yes.
Are you an animagus now? You can turn into animals and fly? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime?
No, that's ridiculous. I'm just simply Spider-Woman. Yes, in fact, I was.
Right.
I'm sorry. I never imagined it would become such an important point. And
It's
I
Ace
really wonder why the
Attorney.
prosecution didn't bring that up.
Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? And how did you get up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. Actually, Judge, so I'm just going to end it here and we'll get to the testimony in the next part.
Tune in.
Which is not an hour long, thank
Tune
God.
in for the next part, which I'm actually looking forward to, because this case all of a sudden became a lot more fun with Clavier suffering.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we'll also dissect the end of it. See ya.
See ya.
See it.